Okay, cool. All right, so super thankful for everybody who came on tonight. My name is KJ Mudd, and this is Joseph Mudd. We are the Mudds. Can you guys hear us okay? I think we're using our camera audio. I don't know how good that is, but uh I appreciate all of you coming out. I would love for you guys to like introduce each other and introduce yourselves in the chat. Say like where you guys are from, what you're focused on, what you're doing. If you're brand new, if you're looking for buyers or things like that, this is always a great opportunity to network and find other people to do business with. Thanks, Hannah. I love starting a Zoom with music. It always sets the tone right with the good vibes.
It does.
Anytime I join a Zoom that doesn't have music, I'm like, oh, we need some music in here.
It's either super awkward or super boring.
Yeah. So, Joseph, do you want to start it?
I was mid-ship.
If you don't know Joseph, he literally eats on every Zoom, every meeting, everything.
I got Zoom snacks too.
He's known for always eating. If he's not eating, it's like, okay, he's going to be soon.
I'm either going to be eating currently, or about to already have eaten.
Okay. Yes, Michelle knows I love to be a DJ. That's if I didn't have a child and if I could live a different life, I would probably be a DJ. All right.
Teresa said, I'll only get to see some of this because she leaves for work soon.
Oh no. Okay.
This will be on YouTube.
Yeah, it's going on our YouTube channel, KJ and Joseph Mudd. I'll once we finish up or halfway through, I'll go and link it in there so you guys can find it. But all right, Joseph.
All right, y'all. So we I don't know about you guys, but we give it all to God. That's who's given us everything that we have. So we like to start off with the prayer. You don't have to. You can mute it if you don't want to. That's fine. It's not gonna hurt my feelings. But I'm gonna go ahead and close my eye.
Way the hell away.
Oh, hold up. Hold up. All right, sorry about that. All right, God, appreciate everything that you've done for us and everybody here. Those that know it and those that don't, you're providing blessings every day, small, big, and super large, all over the place. And we just truly appreciate it for what you're doing for us and for everyone. And we hope that you continue taking care of us. And I hope that this Zoom is efficient and effective in teaching and explaining some of the concepts that may be hard or difficult to understand. And we just appreciate everything that we've got now and everything that's coming to us. And thank you for all these people that have joined us today, and keep everybody safe. Amen.
Amen. Awesome. Okay. If you're able to, I'd love to see your face if you're able to show your camera. Because a lot of times people will come up to us and say hi, and then I feel bad because I don't ever see their face. I see their name. So I recognize their name, but I don't recognize them in person. So it's always helpful to show your face if you're able to. No pressure.
No, there's pressure. There's definitely pressure.
So I'll give you guys the rundown because I'm the type of person that like I want to know what the agenda is. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna kind of share like who we are and what we do, because some of you probably have no clue who we are. And then we're gonna kind of go through the things that we wish we knew and just a lot of topics that we've learned being in multifamily and also buying properties and things like that. And then once we go over several of the topics that I have listed, then we're gonna go into Q&A and let you guys ask questions and network, stuff like that. So that's kind of like the goal of this Zoom. It's been a while. Joseph and I actually documented our entire journey when we first started multifamily 2 years ago. And we would host weekly Zooms every Friday where we would have like 100 people, like the Zoom would get maxed out. And like we used to do this all the time, but we kind of stopped doing it. And so this is the first one we've done in a while. And I'm like, I don't know why I'm nervous. We used to do this all the time, but I'm a little nervous.
That's funny.
But anyways, you guys can keep networking in the chat. That doesn't bother me at all. I'd love for you guys to find people to work with and things like that. So Joseph and I have been in sub 2 for this year will be 4 years. And so we've been in the community for quite some time. And a little bit about our journey is it happened during COVID when we lost our jobs and had no money. So we used our stimulus checks, paid a mentor in Houston, and had $97 left in our bank account and put our backs against the wall. And it was a scary moment to take that kind of risk, but we ended up closing our first deal, which was 4 houses, and made 22.5K because it was a 45K assignment that we split with our mentor that we paid. So that was like the first moment that I was like, whoa, this stuff is possible. I just did something that I didn't think I could do. And I think that was a huge catalyst to like fueling my confidence and motivation to like do crazy things. Cause it's like, oh, if I could do this, what else can I do? So that got me excited. Then we joined Sub 2, wasted all our money because we didn't have the right mindset.
Wait.
What?
What do we do to waste money?
Oh, okay, so we invested it
Yeah,
all back into the business thinking, oh, if we just pay for cold callers, pay for leads, pay for this, we got a business, we're gonna make it. No, that doesn't, we got a rude awakening. That's not how it works because we didn't have the right mindset. We didn't have the capability, the skill set, just all of it, right? We were not prepared to actually run a business. So we ended up at square, what, I don't know what you call it, back to it.
started over. Yeah.
Started over again. And that's when we joined Sub 2 and we're like, we gotta close a deal or we're not gonna get our bills paid. Yeah, it was a roller coaster. So we ended up we closed deals here and there, but we never understood the concept or figured out how to delegate and build a team. And so we were wearing all the hats by ourselves, just running in circles. Deals would fall through, the one deal that we were betting on, and then it's like, oh, I have to start all over again, and it got really frustrating. And so we ended up joining a team. So we thought was a team, moved to Arizona to be with that team, didn't work out at all. Had to start all over again. And I was like, oh my gosh, back to zero again. I was like, God, why are you testing me? What lesson am I not learning that you're trying to teach me, that you keep making me do this? And so then I'm like, you know what? I was dispoing all the time. I was constantly dealing with buyers who said that, oh, I'm going to sell off my portfolio. I don't want to do single family. I want to get into multifamily. And I was like, why do I want to be you 10 years from now? I knew I wanted to do multifamily. And I was like, it was a mindset shift I had to make because I was thinking millions. And I was like, that's insane. Like, how am I gonna do properties that big? Like the single family scare me. I was like, I don't even own a house yet. I was like, this is crazy. So we did it anyway. We teamed up with some people in Sub 2. None of us, we were the blind leading the blind, and we just got together on Zoom every day. And we're like, we're gonna figure this out. We were calling brokers, saying stupid stuff because we didn't know what we were talking about.
It's all recorded.
Yeah, we recorded it. I'll have to make some clips of it. We wasted so much time looking at the wrong deals, the wrong leads, but because we were documenting our journey and putting ourselves out there, people saw us as people doing multifamily. So a Sub 2 student actually brought us a lead that they needed help with. We were able to negotiate it into a deal, and then we brought it to Pace, and Pace is actually a partner on our first 30 unit that we own. So we were able to get our first deal by putting ourselves out there and someone bringing us a lead that we were able to help structure into a deal. Then the same scenario again with the next deal that we own. We own a 40 unit in Tennessee. Another Sub 2 student brought that to us needing help, and we were able to negotiate that too. So currently right now we have 3 properties over 100 units. And so we have one in Corpus Christi, one in Tennessee, and one in Houston. And all of that was within a year of us just taking action and failing forward, being in the wrong partnerships, trusting the wrong mentors, things like that. So that is our journey and experience.
Wait.
Oh,
Let's go back
okay,
to the
okay.
properties real quick. You
Okay.
skipped over the best part.
I was gonna get there.
So being from sub two, and ever since we joined sub two, our focus has specifically been on creative financing deals. So that is like our main niche. That's where we excel. That's our skill set that we've developed and put together. So when we jumped into multifamily, the idea behind it was we don't know how to do it normally, but we can just apply the same concepts that we've learned and are utilizing now with, sub two, seller financing, all these other creative combinations. Like, why don't we just apply that to multifamily? Like, it can't be that much more difficult, right? There is a little few things here and there, but we can go over that. So with that, our first two deals are both seller financing deals, completely seller finance, no banks involved. The first one was a $3 million purchase price. We put 5% down. Half of that, the seller gave back to us as part of our CapEx budget, our renovation budget. And then we got 3% interest, and we had 3 months of no payments. And that is all on a 50-year note, 50. So we have that note for 50 years. We'll probably never pay it off. We'll never refinance it. We'll just keep it going forever. We'll be in our 70s by the time that note comes due. Amazing, amazing deal right there. The second one, very similar, was a 2.9 purchase price. We put 17% down, also 3% interest, and it's a 5-year note, but 5 years interest only. So the payments that we're making are smaller because it's just the interest that we're paying. We're not paying any principal. But we structured that deal to where we have automatic extensions that if we can't sell in 5 years, we can extend 1 more year, and we can keep doing that until we can sell the property and exit from it safely. So 2 really good deals. The third one was similar price, but we did a loan assumption where we actually got our names on the loan and went through a traditional process to do that. So we still do cash, we still do traditional. We just really like the creative stuff. All right, next thing.
Yeah.
She's the boss today. She's running the show. I'm just happy to be here.
Yeah, so we actually raised $1 million for the second property, the 40 unit, and we've raised close to 2 million for the third one. So let me see how to go in order. So I had put how we got started and then how we acquired the properties, and now I'm going to talk about like raising money. So I think that was a huge wake-up call being in multifamily, especially with our last property where we did a syndication. So if anyone's not familiar with a syndication, you got to get lawyers involved dealing with the SEC, lots of rules that you have to abide by when raising money. So if like a 506B is friends and family, so that means I can't post about it. I can't go and like what's the word?
Solicit.
Yeah, solicit.
You can't advertise it anywhere. It's just like, hey, I know you from before. Let me call them up and say, hey, I've got this opportunity we're working on. Is this something you'd be interested in? Like, I can go and solicit to people that I already know, but if it's someone who I don't know, I technically can't go and bring it up in conversation.
Yeah, and then a 506C means typically you're dealing with accredited investors, so they need to have a net worth of a certain degree and they need to have experience and proof that they actually have all of that. So then you could post it, but now the downside of 506C is like if you're a brand new person getting into multifamily, people are going to want to see your credibility. They're going to want to see your track record. And if you're brand new, how are you going to get people you don't know to invest with you? So that's the pros and cons of doing a syndication. And the hard part that people don't realize is multifamily investors are very different than single family investors. They're going to be investing long term and typically lower returns because it's lower risk. Versus single family investors, they're wanting less than 6 months, less than 12 months, and higher returns. So then when you're out in the community and you're talking to people, that's a really hard thing to get over or get in the right communities with the right people that want to park their money in that kind of way. So we had actually originally had different partners on one of our properties, and they were supposed to be raising the money, and they didn't perform at all and ended up quitting and left us high
The
and dry.
last month before we closed the property, in the last month.
Yeah,
So we had to raise the amount needed to close in like the last 3 weeks of it.
and that was a mistake we made, was trusting someone for their word
Mhm.
instead of, I don't know. It's one of those things where like you just want to have control so you know it gets done versus trusting in someone else, because then your reputation's on the line. So we originally weren't going to buy a specific deal. We were going to hand it off to these other people, and we were just going to keep equity for finding the deal and structuring it and doing all the due diligence. And they were supposed to run the property, raise the capital. Well, they couldn't perform, and we had brought in the risk capital. So the risk capital is the person who puts up the money for paying for all of the due diligence. So like doing the inspections, paying for the attorney fees, because you have to go back and forth when you are doing a multifamily deal. It's not like single family where you just get a regular contract and write it up and then they sign it. In multifamily, you really read everything that's in that contract, and typically your attorneys go back and forth and you have to pay for that.
To put it in perspective, that third deal from getting the LOI accepted, and LOI is basically just a formal offer. It's a letter of intent. And from getting the LOI accepted to actually closing day was 11 months. It was way longer than it normally takes, but it can happen. And that's a smaller property, right? That a normal time period is like 3 months. It's 60 days, 90 days. It's a normal time period. But it doesn't mean that that's going to happen every time. So just to put it in perspective, that closing took 11 months, and it was because there was a bunch of back and forth. Once we already had the offer accepted, like the numbers, then we negotiated the contract for like 2 months. Just negotiating the contract, the terms in the contract itself was 2 months negotiation. And then all along the way, you have the incidents she talked about, and then,
I have something.
okay, go ahead.
So somebody's got to pay those attorneys for
Mhm.
every time they're sending the contract back and forth.
Yeah.
So you can ask for someone to be the risk capital partner, and you can offer them a high percentage of equity in the deal for doing that. Well, the person that was supposed to buy the deal, their risk capital person backed out right after we got under contract. So we brought in our person that we have a good relationship with. So that's our relationship on the line. And that person invested because of us. So when the going got tough and these people just bounced and they quit, the mistake we made was they didn't have any skin in the game. They literally had nothing to lose. It was our reputation with the broker, our reputation with the risk capital. They had none of their own money in the deal. And so when the going got tough, they pretty much just bowed down and left. So I lost all my respect for them to do that. And I know not to do deals with them ever again, but it's like, wow. But the good thing about that is it forced us to raise a huge amount of money in a short amount of time. It showed us that we do have the capability to do that. And then it made us go out there and start talking to people, because you guys, if you want to be in multifamily, every single person you talk to every single day is somebody that could be an investor. And if they're not an investor, then someone they know could be an investor. So now anytime I have a conversation, I'm always bringing it up what I do. Like my pitch is I help people escape the 9 to 5 grind and, get passive returns on their money. And they're like, what? How do you do that? I'm like, I give people the opportunity to, make money in their sleep. Um, they're getting, what's it called?
They're getting tax benefits, they're getting
Yeah.
passive returns on their money, they're getting to learn along the way. They're getting to use that credibility of owning part of an apartment to go and do other stuff that they want to do, right? Maybe they want to go and be an operator as well for apartment buildings, or maybe something similar like self-storage or hotels, or maybe they just want to buy more real estate, and they can use that credibility and say, hey, I own part of a 38 unit building, or I own a 30, they don't even have to say part, I own a 38 unit building. They don't need to know how much, right? You can leverage that credibility. And there's that's just some of the pros that someone can get when investing in something like that.
So I'll give you some secrets. If I could go back in time, knowing what I know now, what I would do differently is I would become a capital raising queen. I would be insanely good at it. I would raise so much money. That's all I would focus on because something I've learned is like what can I bring to the table that these higher operators don't already have or can pay for? How can I earn my equity in a deal when, they have all the experience and I have none? Well, everyone always needs money. So if I could go back in time, I would just focus on raising money because everyone can always use money. And that's a great way to like bring value to operators that you want to learn from or deals that you want to insert yourself in, things like that. So that's something that like if I could go back in time, that is something that I would do. Another thing would be keep track of your contacts.
Hang on real quick.
What I miss?
No, just a quick disclaimer. You can get into a deal by raising capital, but if it is a syndication and there's SEC regulations involved, you cannot have equity in a deal for just bringing capital. You have to have some other active role within the general partnership. So that's the quick disclaimer. It could be something simple, like maybe you're on the asset management team, maybe you're the boots on the ground. Like it could be a multitude of things, but you have to have some other active involvement in the deal. You can't just raise capital and then never do anything with that deal again. You can't get equity that way. That is not allowed. There's a bunch of regulations that go into this. We are not attorneys, so do your due diligence. Go look. Don't trust us, right? Just go and learn it yourself as well. This is just our experience that we're sharing. So just since this is public, I need to make that disclaimer. All right, go ahead. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
I lost my train of thought.
You were talking about, I don't remember what you were talking about, but while you're thinking about it, I'm gonna go back to the raising capital pieces. What are some actionable items or steps that you can do to learn or get good with raising capital? Well, in order to learn the skill, the best thing to do is to just go out and start doing it. You're going to run into people that are rude and you're going to run into people that are nice, right? The rude ones are going to teach you more than the nice ones because the rude ones are going to tell you right away what you're doing wrong and you'll figure it out pretty quickly what you're doing wrong. The nice ones, they're going to show you some of the things that you can do and steps that you can take along the way. So the easiest way to do it is to just be yourself. Find someone that you can work with that has the experience if you have no experience, and leverage that experience for your own credibility. And just be super honest and genuine. That is the best way. Just be yourself. That is how you're going to be able to start raising money. And the way you do it is just having conversations like what KJ was talking about earlier. You're just having genuine conversations with people about what you do. And everybody from this point forward is a multifamily investor. Everybody in this room is a multifamily investor in some capacity, shape, or form, right? You all are multifamily operators and you help people earn passive returns through backed by real estate, right? That's a quick, simple pitch. That is the first thing you need to make that shift in your mind. You need to make that shift in your being and just own it and breathe it. Like that is, everybody's always asking, how do you raise capital? That is the secret sauce right there. It's not a secret. You just have to believe it. That's the absolute truth. Outside of that, some more specifics that you can do is just really get on social media. If you're like me and don't care for it, don't do it. Good luck, but you really have to do it. Maybe you find someone that loves to do it, like KJ here. This whole thing is all her idea. I don't do any of the social media. She's entirely our brand. She creates it, she builds it. I just show up to these things and talk. That is my main role, is to just be the knowledge, and she makes it happen. She brings people in. Nobody would even know who we are without her doing our branding. So it's super important that you learn that skill or get somebody who has that skill set. It does not have to be a pitch. It just has to be something that people can go and reference. Like nobody's going to invest with the person that has no social internet footprint. Like if the first thing that people are going to do, they're going to go look you up. And if they can't find anything on you, they're going to be like, this is a scam 100%. So the simplest thing to do is to just start posting. It can be as simple as just posting what you're learning. And that's what we did. There's a couple people in here now, some of them on our team that have been with us since the beginning of our multifamily journey. The only reason they were is because we were posting. We were putting out what we were learning, even if it was not 100% accurate. It's what we were learning, and we were honest with that. We were telling them, hey, this is what we learned today, right? This is super simple, quick 10-second, 15-second clip. Here's what we learned. Here's how it can help. Boom, move on, right? Or it can be going to a property and just recording a walkthrough of a property, right? Simple stuff like that, and adding things like that to your Instagram or your Facebook or your LinkedIn is a really good place. Have all of those. I know it's a lot of work. I absolutely hate doing that stuff. I still do it sometimes, but thank goodness KJ loves to do it. So that is just a couple actionable steps that you can take today to get started on that, is to really just start putting, like, the first post you can make is like, hey, I tuned into the MUD Zoom. Here's the top 3 takeaways I got from their Zoom. Boom, post. And you can do that 5 days in a row and say, here's the other top 3 things I learned. Here's the next top 3 things I learned. Boom, that's 5 posts right there, assuming you get 15 ideas. And you can even reuse them. Put a different background. Maybe it's something silent. You type it out on one, you voice it over on another. The what's the word I'm looking for? The opportunities are endless. That doesn't sound right, but we'll run with that. That's not what I was exactly thinking of, but we'll go with it.
It's funny that he preaches about this
I absolutely hate it.
because
I'm so honest. I hate
if
it.
you all go look at my Instagram, hold on. If y'all want to follow me, I'll follow you back. That if you can steal my content or
Yeah.
whatever.
Go look on it.
Hold on, let me finish. Go look at Joseph's Instagram, and almost every single one of them is because I collaborated with him.
Or somebody else collaborated with him.
So his secret sauce is marrying somebody that will collaborate.
Or getting partners that will collaborate with you. Like, just, I'm telling you, the secret, if you don't want to do it, go find somebody who does, or pay someone who
And
wants
you
to.
can all like partner together and collaborate together. Like I would love that. Anytime somebody wants to collaborate with me, I'm like, hell yeah, I don't have to post content today. They did it for me. So
And you are, again, you're leveraging their following into your following. Like, you may have like 100 people followers, right? But let's say somebody has 1,000 followers that you don't have. They collaborate with you. Now that post is shared on yours, and that 1,000 other people that you normally wouldn't have interaction from are now seeing it, and they're going to be like, oh, who's this person? Let me go check it out, right? So having that digital footprint is going to be super, super key to raising capital. And the other thing, just being super genuine and honest. You're going to attract the people that want to do business with you, and those that don't or are not a good fit, you don't have to work with them. That is the one thing. My favorite thing about real estate is I get to pick who we work with, and those that aren't a good fit, they're not a good fit, and we just move on, right? There's so many opportunities, so many people out there. You don't have to feel that, oh my gosh, I'm gonna miss out on this opportunity. But there's another opportunity coming. Again, God gives us everything. He's not gonna put you in desperation. He's gonna put people in front of you to show you what you want and what you don't want in your life. And those bad people, so to speak, are just one of those people coming in your life to show you what you don't want in your business. Again, we've learned more from the bad people than from the good people, because they immediately show us right then and there what we don't want.
Preacher Joe, normally it's me.
I know.
Okay, I know I want to have time for them to ask questions, so let's kind of run through the rest
Yeah,
of
let's
it
do it.
because you were preaching on
That was
this.
a good topic, though. That's the reason why.
Okay.
Capital raising is super important.
Yeah, I think it's the foundation, honestly. Like you don't have to know underwriting. Like I don't underwrite, I don't do market analysis, like all of that stuff. I'm visionary. I will pass it off. Like Kyle's in here, Peter's in here. They're one of our underwriters on the team. And then we got Lars in here and Clint. I think I saw Clint in here. They're also on our team. These guys have been on the team for quite some time and they really crush it. I love having them part of the team and when we first started, Lars, like he was scared to talk on the phones and now he runs circles around these brokers and it's just amazing to see. But what we're gonna go into next is market analysis. We're gonna kind of when you're looking at deals, a lesson that we learned the hard way was you need to know, even if it's a perfect deal, you need to make sure the market's good. Because just because the numbers in the business plan make sense doesn't mean that it's actually going to execute because of the market that you're in. So I'll pass this off to you. Just don't go on a long tangent, please.
I'll keep it short. So the first steps that you guys should be taking is first getting education, right? You want to get the education and learn how to do these things correctly, but don't get analysis paralysis and just learn and not do anything with it and just keep learning and learning. Learning is doing nothing for you if you're not taking action on that. So I know everybody says that, but it's so true. The best way to truly harness and understand what you're learning is to go and do it. So the reason I say that is because one of the people that we've learned from, and this is a free resource. I think it, gosh, I cannot remember what the website is. Yeah, you
Did I
can,
spell his name
yeah, you
right?
spelled it right. So Neil
Okay.
Bawa, he was a data scientist originally, it was like 10 years ago, 11 years ago. He was a data scientist who switched to multifamily, absolutely killing it. The reason I bring him up is because he has, man, honestly, just look him up and you'll find it. I think it's like multifamilyu.com, like multifamily university, but multifamily U, like with the U. I think that's the website. I have it bookmarked. I just don't remember what it is. Anyways, go check him out. There's a whole bunch of people like him out there. I just say him because he's free. He has a free resource and you can learn so much of this stuff. The reason I even bring him up, oh yeah, there you go, boom.
Let's go.
Riley got it. Riley got it. That's the one. So go check that out. That will give you tons more information. It's a good place to start. The reason I'm bringing him up is because when we started looking at deals, we would go and underwrite the deals and go and do all this time and effort and energy spent into looking at a deal and we man, it's so much wasted time. And the reason I say it's wasted time is because a lot of times it wasn't a deal that we would have actually wanted, but we were just so hungry to get our hands on something and underwrite it that we did it anyways. So what you guys should be doing when you're looking at a deal, an opportunity, is disqualifying it as quickly as possible. The whole point is you want to get to a no as fast as you can. You want to get rid of something, get it off your desk so you can focus on the stuff that's a yes. So that is the ultimate key and the point. So the reason I say that is because one of the things that we do to make that happen, to get to that no, is we do a market analysis before we even entertain the deal, before we look at the numbers, before we go any further. We want to figure out, is this even in a market that we would actually want to be in, right? So Neil gives a great overview, a high level overview of some tools and metrics to look for with the market analysis, and that's where we based ours off of. So he gives five metrics to look at, and as long as you hit 3 out of the 5, it's a go. It's a green light for him. 2 out of the 5 is kind of is the deal really good? If so, maybe you want to consider it. Is it on that borderline at 2? 3 is go. 4, let's make it happen. 5, you better buy that deal. So the first one, and I'm a little rusty off of this. I had the specific metrics here, but my mom stayed over and she was cleaning and threw it away. So I got to go and rewrite it out. Anyways, the The first metric is the population. You want to see that the population is growing, that there's actual growth in the population. If it's stagnant, it's not necessarily a red flag, but it's not necessarily good either, because you want to see that there's more people coming to the market. If there's nobody coming to the market, or worse, people are leaving that particular market, that's not a good sign. Maybe there's something specific going on. I don't know. You want to also incorporate the news and the specific location, the the specific things happening in that area as well with this. But that's a good indicator on whether or not you go into it. Is the population growing? The next things you want to look at is the median household income. Can the people in this particular market afford the property type that we have there? Like a class A property, those are like the really nice ones, newer. I don't want to build a class A property or take over a class A property in a market that has a median income of like 30 to 50,000, because you generally want your tenants to have 3 times the rent. You want to make, they want to make monthly 3 times the rent as a general rule of thumb. And 30 to 50,000 isn't going to cut it for a class A property when the rents are upwards of 2,000 most of the time. So that's the second one. The third one, same idea, same concept, is the median what's it called? Median household value. So if the property values in that area are, 50K, 100K, you don't want to buy that A class asset because the demographic around you is a much lower income demographic. That would be better situated for a class C property where it's more geared towards lower income tenants. The fourth one is job growth. So kind of going along the same lines as the population, I also want to see that there's job growth in the area. If the jobs aren't growing, there's not more jobs coming to the area, then that's probably a sign that there's not going to be as strong of a population growth or income going up. Like it all is intermingled. So you want to see that there's good job growth in the area. And there's a website, it's called Department of Numbers, departmentofnumbers.com. And then the other website we use is city-data, if you want to type those in real quick. The fifth one, probably you guys can guess this, is the crime. We want to see that the crime is either decreasing or below a certain mark. We do not want to, on city-data, the mark to hit is anything under 450 for the last 2 years. We want to see that under about 450. If it's well above that, or maybe it's at 500, 500 should be okay. But as that starts increasing, that it means that that specific location is, lots of crime. And then you can dig further and figure out what kind of crime is it? Is it petty theft? Is it a bunch of murders going on? Like, we really want to figure out like what's going on in the area. So we do this at a high level with like the metro, at the metro level, and then we do this at a more localized level with the sub-market, and specifically like we're from Houston, so Houston would be the metro, and if anybody knows, there's like Richmond, Rosenberg, or Sugarland, like those would be the sub-markets, the specific, like more of the suburb areas. And you can even go more focused into the specific zip code as well.
Or neighborhood.
Or neighborhood. But the zip code should, I don't generally go further than the zip code. It's pretty close. All right, next one.
Well, doing all of this, so the point of this is like we used to underwrite deals, and underwriting takes a long time. It can take, especially when you're figuring it out and you don't know what you're looking at. So if you do a market analysis first, you're like, oh wow, this is not in a good market at all. Now you just saved yourself a ton of time not underwriting deals. So that's why we wanted to really push on this, because it was something we wish we had known sooner. So we were hoping we could share some points with you guys that will save you time that we wish we known. We're almost done here to open up to questions. And also, if you guys are getting value from this, like posting on Facebook or tagging us on Instagram, things like that about stuff you've learned that are helpful and stuff like that,
or subscribing on YouTube.
Yeah, or that would make me happy. Any of those things really like fill my cup and bring me joy. It just makes me know that like what we're doing is impactful, or that it's beneficial to you guys.
Or just reach out and DM us or send us a message, and then guess what? We're gonna take that and turn it into content. Screenshot, boom, here's what
Yeah,
somebody said.
any of
Content.
that, any of that works.
Everything is content these days.
Yeah, so what the next things I had was how to build or join a team, how to partner and build credibility. So I'll try and go over these quickly. So Joseph and I are actually looking for some people to kind of join our team. We had people calling markets and brokers and stuff like that, but we really want to find somebody that can kind of like do market stuff for us, as in like bring in more investors, post our stuff. We have a Facebook community actually called the $1 Million Upside. I really need to get all these links together. Obviously, didn't come that prepared with that, but the $1 Million Upside, we have about 3,000 people in there. That's where we've been sharing our journey to. And so we're looking for people who are in the, what's it called? In it to win it for the long term, you know, like Lars. Lars has been here literally since day one on our team, since we started the team. And having my daughter forced us to build a team because we had to delegate. We had no other choice but to replace ourselves. So having my daughter was such a blessing because it forced us to grow. And that's when we were like, all right, we got to build a team and figure this out. You know, we're going to fail forward and hope that these people want to stay with us because we have no clue what we're doing. And so we just figured it out. And so we're always looking for people who are eager to learn, ready to take action, and just I don't know. I'm looking for people who like want it. You know, we're always looking for people to have on the team and grow with us. Um, how we built a team was by putting ourselves out there and then taking action. And you know, like I don't do underwriting, so find an underwriter, find somebody who's good at raising capital, find somebody who likes to call brokers and build relationships with brokers and things like that. So if you want to start your own team, then whatever you don't like to do, find somebody that likes to do it. Because if you don't like doing it and every day it's like pulling teeth to get yourself to do it, then like chances are you're not going to take action and it's not going to get you anywhere. So another thing that really helped us build credibility in the beginning, we were saying we had this mentor and we were using his credibility, saying like, oh yeah, our goal is to buy, I don't remember what it was,
1,000 units
in a year or something like, I don't know. It was not believable, I guess you could say. And so then they would be like, send me your bio, send me your proof of funds. And then I'm like, oh, I don't have a bio, I don't have a proof of funds. Like, I was like, this is awkward. And yeah, so Joseph and I realized, you know, because of our values, we're like, you know what, let's just be honest and transparent. Like those are our core values is honesty, transparency, and communication. Like, especially on our team. It's like, I don't care if like something happens, life is life, but communicate. Let me know. And you know, I'm totally understandable. I don't care, you know, shit happens. But like if you just disappear, I'm gonna be like, okay, that's a problem. You didn't communicate. So we will talk to brokers and I tell them straight up, you know, immediately on the phone call, usually like they want to ask you questions about you and kind of vet you, but instead we learn the secret sauce is you immediately just say, this is who I am, this is what I'm doing, this is my experience, this is my intentions, and this is what I want from you pretty much, or what I'm trying to do. And then because of that, they literally stop asking us questions. They don't ask us for proof of funds. They don't ask us for a bio. Like I don't even have a bio made and it's been 2 years. I need to make one, but like I just it sounds like a lot of work. I just don't want to do it. I need to pay someone to do it. I get writer's block. I don't want to think about it. So that just goes to show that it works because we still haven't made one and we're getting through. So that was also another tidbit that was a secret sauce for us, was just like immediately, hey, Mr. Broker, let me tell you about me and who I am so you know who you're working with, and then give them your spill. You know, I'm new, but you know what? I have experience backed by me. I'm working on a team that can perform. They're going to be able to bring X, Y, and Z. They're going to do this and that, you know? So you can be part of a team that has a ton of experience to be like, look, I'm calling to vet and see if these are deals that we even want to buy. Can you work with me? Can we figure out how we can make this deal happen?
Another
Stuff like
thing,
that.
by doing that, it's a negotiation tactic. We didn't necessarily think of it that way in the beginning, but it absolutely is. We're taking over control of that conversation. And when you're in the driver's seat of the conversation, you're coming from a power position. And you don't just, aggressively like, no, this is my conversation. But by doing that subconsciously, you are the more dominant, you are the authority in the conversation. And subconsciously, they're like, oh man, these buyers, they're serious. I don't know this person yet, but something about them, I like it. I want to work with them. Like we have people that we've been working with for over a year and Scott, one of the brokers one of the first brokers that KJ spoke to is still finding deals for us. We have 4 deals that are active right now where we're looking for funding to buy them. And one of those came from Scott. And this dude is awesome. He knew nothing about multifamily, but he just liked KJ so much that he's like, you know what? I'm going to start looking for apartments for you. And it's because she had a conversation similar to what she was just describing. And still crazy, amazing guy. I love Scott. He's a really, really great guy.
Okay. So those were some things. I'm looking up all the links to share with you guys right now, so I'm not trying to be rude. But I think we covered everything.
Let's open the floor for
High level.
questions. And if you don't have a question and it's something that you guys want an additional YouTube clip or a Zoom on, that's also a good idea.
Yeah.
Like, let us know, right? Because I mean, again, if we don't have to think about it, right? And we can just like, boom, that's a great idea. Let's make it happen. That
Like,
could be the next video that we do.
We don't know what you guys need or where your experience is. And if we know, hey, you need help here, and I'm like, oh, that's second nature to me now, but I didn't think that you guys might need it. Let us know. Because I know we went high level on a bunch of things. I'm sure we could do a whole Zoom just on market analysis, going way deeper into that.
We have.
I know, but like people like it live. They
I
don't
know,
want to go
yeah.
back and watch, which I'm fine. I like doing that. I
Yeah.
prefer doing it live. So
And while you guys are thinking of questions, we've been talking about Lars, throughout this, but, and she mentioned Kyle and Peter, but the, guys, these people knew nothing before, right? Same as us, they knew nothing, right? Lars came to us, what has been year and a half, year and a half, something like that. He knew nothing, had no real estate experience whatsoever. Lars is now running our acquisitions team. He's the acquisitions manager. We don't even take broker calls anymore, guys. Lars is doing that with the help of the acquisitions team that we've built under him. Kyle and Peter, these guys are dominating. I used to do all the underwriting. Now all I'm doing is double checking their work and just reviewing it. And for the most part, I'm not really doing anything there either. The only thing I'm doing is coming up with alternate strategies with the offer. They're doing single-handedly almost all of the underwriting for all of the deals that we look at. They knew nothing about this stuff before. So if we can do it, they can do it, you guys can do it too.
you can raise your hand as well if you have a question. Oh, Carrie.
There, I got you.
Okay. There we go. Okay, I'm taking over the mouse again.
Yeah.
Okay, so I can get this.
What's up, Carrie? Good to meet you. Oh.
Wow, that was weird. Sorry. I'm not Carrie. My business partner is Carrie. I'm actually Ramsey. And somehow she got dropped off of the meeting or of the call, and she was just texting me, and I was trying to get her back in. So, hi.
No worries, no worries. It's funny. One of the partners in our other properties, his name is Oscar, and we share a Zoom account. So sometimes they'll sign it, and it just says Oscar.
Well, yeah, I think what happened was, so I signed up for the webinar, and then when I actually got the link, she told me, she's like, oh, hey, you got to click on the link and then get the confirmation to get the link in. So she shared it with me because I never got the email and I didn't want to bother you guys for it. So that's probably what happened.
Gotcha. No worries.
Um,
I'm sorry, what did you say your name was?
Ramsey Rogers. And
Ramsey. I
yeah,
love
I
it.
just saw you guys. I know I said hi briefly. You guys probably don't recognize me right now, and I apologize for that. I wasn't planning on being on camera because I got a late workout in, and yeah. Anyway, but met you guys last weekend over at, out at Paces, but it was a brief kind of thing.
Yeah.
So nice to see you guys again. So new to sub two, I think this is I'm going on to week 5 out of Boise, and Carrie is actually my business partner. And so a couple things, had a couple questions, and thank you guys so much for this. These are the kind of I'll say Zooms and conversations that I've been having over the last 5 weeks that have given, I'll say, me more tips and the actual actionable tips to go out and use when I'm having conversations, versus just sitting down and going through training, right? So I learned through doing, not through just watching videos. Anyway, so 2 questions. One, for how long did it take you guys to actually build out your team? That's the first question.
Oh, that's a good question. Um, you want to take that or you want me to take it?
You can take it.
Okay.
I was in postpartum and being
Yeah,
pregnant.
well,
It's a blur.
so from start of, hey, let's do multifamily, we had a little bit of a different scenario. So I'll give you 2 answers to it, right? Because there's definitely 2 parts to this. So when we started, we reached out to Oscar. He had just started doing multifamily as well, about a month ahead of us, and he was working with another couple as well. So we just said, look, we're all trying to learn this. Let's just figure it out together, which is what she was talking about before. And so we kind of immediately had a team right away, and we were all kind of just figuring it out. It took months to kind of like, okay, you're better suited for this role. Who's going to do this role? We kind of just started figuring that out, right? But as far as like an actual team from like a business perspective, we didn't even think about doing that until almost a year in. And the only reason we did that is because she was pregnant and was about to have a baby like the next month. And so we talked with each other and we were like, we said, man, we really gotta bring some more people. We're gonna need help. Like, cause you're gonna be out. I'm gonna end up being out for a little bit. Like, there's no way we can continue this the way that we are and not have people helping us do this. And it's funny because we actually told Oscar and his girlfriend, now fiance, we were like, hey, this is what we're thinking. We need to do this. And they both were like, no, we don't need to do that. Like we can handle it. We'll be able to take it on. Like you guys go do your thing. We'll cover it. And KJ and I were like, yeah, no, we gotta bring people in. So we just did it anyways. We asked for forgiveness, not permission, and we just did it. And it was the best thing that we could have done. And it forced us to delegate. So to replace her, we had to bring on 6 people to just replace KJ and what she was doing from the acquisition standpoint. And one of those people was Lars. Um, and then we also replaced myself from the underwriting perspective. And then we brought on like 4 underwriters, and actually none of those underwriters are here today. Kyle came shortly after that first round. So we got like 10 people in the beginning, and that we didn't want to go more than that because again, we were not confident in ourselves to run and lead a team. But we kind of just did it, honestly. And once we did it, we're like, wow, what a freaking great idea. We should have done this years ago. Like, why are we not doing this? And so we actually copy and pasted what we did on the multifamily team and we created a single family team because we still have a wholesale business and we're getting 10 to 15 deals a month on the single family side. But that's our side income. This is our baby. That's more just like, when we're done with that, we'll be done with it, right? But to answer your question, we did it pretty quickly. It does not happen like that for everybody. And it's just a matter of where your experience level is, your confidence level, and the resources that you have. But if you have money, you can do it immediately. Or you can structure it to where, hey, it's a eat what you kill type situation like ours. Everybody that's working with us gets paid on the deals that they bring in and work on. So if they don't touch that deal or work on it, they wouldn't necessarily get paid on that deal. So that's the structure that we have. The reason people stick around is because they're also getting education along with being a part of the team and the experience that they're getting. So I don't know that that directly answered your question. As far as like the specifics, everybody always asked us that, like, how did you guys figure out the roles? That just came. Like when KJ kind of touched on it earlier, she was like, figure out what you're not good at and then go put somebody else in that role, or figure out the things you don't want to do and put somebody else in that role. That is the best advice. It's as simple as you can get it. Figure out the parts that you like doing, do those things, and then delegate the rest of it.
Yeah, that makes sense. Thank you. Okay, and then the second question is probably a little less complicated. Is from a raising capital standpoint, did you guys go strictly in sub two, or did you guys use outside resources as well? Because right now I'm kind of doing both. And so I wanted to see if there was a recommendation for best practices there or not.
I would say both. Everywhere.
Mhm.
Like you don't want to miss, you don't want to, what is it? What's the word? We don't discriminate.
We're an equal opportunist.
Yes. You never know. Like sometimes the people with the most money are the people that do not look like it. So like you never want to like just make an assumption, and
Definitely.
you never know what somebody has access to either. So I think just always having the conversations with people, there's always room to find money in. And something else that we've learned most recently, raising money for our 38 unit was definitely very difficult. And then Joseph the other day raises 8 million in 24 hours for an RV park. And the reason why is because people with smaller amounts of money, that's like all they have. So they're going to ask you 100 questions. They're going to think twice. They're going to contemplate. They're going to like, oh my God, like, am I about to give you all of my money? Like, what am I doing? So hard to raise money from smaller amounts versus like people who have millions. They're like, please take my money, put it to work.
Yeah.
Take my money. And I didn't understand it. Like Vina Jetty shares how I think she raised like 65 million or something. And my brain was like, I cannot wrap my head around it. Like I struggled to raise 2 million. How's she raising 65 million? And then it clicks. It clicks. I'm like, it's because you find people with bigger pockets who literally they want to just move their money because I'm in another group. There's a lot of reasons why you want to move your money for tax reasons and stuff like that. So it was really eye-opening that a mindset shift you guys should work on and make is like the bigger the properties, the less risk and the easier it is to raise capital, which is like not what I thought ever. I'm like over here, we don't even own a house yet. We own 3 apartments and we don't own a house. We rent this house because we're trying to figure out where to live. So if that gives you any guys kind of motivation, is go take action and buy some apartments. It's possible. That's what we did.
And I'll add one more piece to that. Sub 2 is amazing. I love the community, but you're not going to find your best investors in sub 2. And the reason is they're all entrepreneurs. They all want to go and do it themselves. You want to find the people that are successful in other industries and they're making a ton of money in those industries and they don't want to do any real estate. They don't want to run operations on a property. They don't want to do any of that. They just want to give you the money and get return on their money. So I would highly, highly suggest utilizing other groups. I would go to figure out who your investor avatar is. Maybe it's something that relates to you. For example, we have a friend that is an Apple recruiter. And so she's in the tech space because it's Apple. And so her investor avatar is people in the tech industry and specifically in big tech. And she's out there in California. So there's a ton of tech and she lives near Silicon Valley. So that is her investor avatar, is people that are in the tech industry and they're making all this money, but they want to get returns and they want to get tax benefits that they can't get with their regular business through investing with her.
I'm taking a note. Thank you. That's awesome. Yeah. It's a really good idea. And Carrie was able to make it back in. Carrie, say hi to everybody. I was you just now.
Hi, Carrie. Nice to see you. Awesome. Well, thank you for coming on. I'm glad we got to see you again.
Likewise, next time hopefully it won't be right after I just wash my hair and after a workout.
Hey, no
Maybe
judgment.
turn on the camera.
Hey, like I said, there was definitely pressure. There's definitely pressure to do it.
I see Tara
But you
has a
came
question.
through. You came through.
Thanks, guys.
Of course. Tara, let me bring you let me unmute you. Hold on. It's been a while, obviously.
Here, I got you.
Oh, there we go. Did you click it?
No.
Oh, I
I'm
thought
waiting
you.
on you.
Okay, okay, hold on. There we go. Hi, hello.
Thank you guys for doing this. I've been kind of diving a little bit into it, but I the hardest part is I live in Washington State.
Mhm.
It is not a landlord friendly state.
Not at all.
Actually, I own short-term rentals that are in Arizona because I don't want to own here in Washington. But the idea of going big like what you guys did is a little bit daunting. So I'm just wondering if going smaller like that 2 to 4 or maybe even up to a sixplex or something like that, I don't know, is it easier to handle as a first time?
Hmm.
I love this question. Can I answer?
Yeah, yeah. Take
Okay,
it away.
I love this question. Also, I saw your face when I said calling brokers and it made me laugh. She's like,
The first time I ever called anybody, I literally dialed the number and I sat there for like 5 minutes before I hit the enter button.
That's funny.
Hey, we've all been there. My first call, I said hello, and they said something. I just hung up. I don't know what to say.
Funny.
That's awesome.
Anyways, so here's my perspective. The bigger the multifamily, the easier it is. The easier it is to get funding, because if you're doing 2 to 4, guess what? The bank is going to, like, if you're getting, funding from a, I don't know the word I'm looking for, a normal perspective, not doing something creative,
Conventional.
they're gonna want to look at you as a person. Anything 5 and above, well, it's based on the property because the property is a business. So the other thing that I want to share is anything under 40 units, typically the income is not going to be enough to justify paying for a property management company. Otherwise, the returns are just so much smaller that it's like, why even do the deal? What's the point of it? I'm not doing all this work and not really getting that much money. So you need to ask yourself, do I want another job? Because that's what you're going to create for yourself if you're doing under 40 units. Honestly, the stuff we have now, it's a lot of work to do asset management and to operate a property. It's a full-time job during the value add stages. I'm sure once we get stabilized, things like that, and raise rent, stuff like that, is probably gonna be way fewer hours. But in the beginning, like, you are doing a full-time job. So if you aren't prepared for the amount of work that you have to put in, and or if you're expecting, oh, this is gonna pay me well, it's not. You're not gonna, especially if you're raising money, you're gonna be the last person to get paid before your investors and the property and the expenses and everything else that has to be taken care of. You're gonna be the last to get paid. The 3 properties we have now, we're not even getting paid on, and it's been a while. So
Wait, why are we not getting paid? There's a very,
I thought it because it's not stabilized.
but what does that mean? So,
Okay.
so a stabilized asset is when a property is like, it's over 90% occupied. It's doing very well. Like, there's no issues at the property that you're having to deal with or develop or fix. A value add property, which is what our 3 properties are, and they're in that value add process. It means that essentially it's the equivalent of a fix and flip on a single family. So it's in the process of being fixed up. We're adding value to the property, and it's in that stage where we're having to do renovations and turn all these units and get bad tenants out of the property and put good tenants in, which on the first one, that 30 unit in Corpus Christi, it was 50% occupied. Half of those were not good tenants. And then on top of that, the empty building, we didn't know it at the time, but there was a sinkhole in the basement of the property. So we had to fix that before we can even do the renovation on the property. And then the 40 unit was just full of bad tenants, either not paying or heavy with drug activity, all kinds of stuff. But we got raided by the DEA on that property. That's how bad it was.
Oh my gosh.
And then the third one, which it looked to be the worst, but it's actually been the smoothest process, and it's because we got better. We learned the things to look for and understand, and we hired super awesome property management because we learned that they make or break your deals.
Yeah.
That's what she means when she says that we haven't gotten paid yet, is because all of the money is going towards additional renovation or getting saved in reserve accounts until we're complete with that changeover process.
So
Okay.
I'd say find people that you can get on their team and learn from, and find a role that you can do and insert yourself in deals that way. Because I myself would not want to operate a deal or do asset management, especially with no experience. So I think it's always good in the multifamily space to find somebody that's like Vina says, she's like, don't bring me a deal because I'm just going to take over it. I don't need you because I could pay for everything you can do. She's like, find somebody that's a few steps ahead of you that can hold your hand and bring you up, and then you end up doing the same once you get brought up, you know? So you want to find the people that are not too far ahead of you that can actually have time to mentor you and show you the way, and also like give you a role so that way you can learn. Because the thing about multifamily is you have to have a role in order to have equity in the property. I think it's the SEC rules or something like that. Like you can't just have equity and not be doing anything. So
I think that's part of my problem too, is the whole, I have to have a team. Okay, my background is I was a teacher. So I opened a childcare facility back in 2005, and I now have 4 locations.
oh, nice.
So I know how to run a business,
Hell
but
yeah.
it's always been me and my husband. We never relied on anybody else. I mean, I opened my first place. I was it. I was the cook. I was a cleaner. I was a diaper changer. I was everything until we could afford to hire more people. So the relying on other people for something like this is something that is harder for me to be able to do. So I'm kind of like, I can do it. I did it all by myself before. I can do it. So kind of getting out of that mindset too of, you need other people. So it's finding, I know business, I know asset management, but kind of finding where does that fit in with maybe a team versus me trying to go on my own.
I,
Yeah.
I love that you said that, because you're not alone. That's actually the majority of people that feel that, hey, I know how to do it. I could just do it myself. I'm going to save money. I'm going to do this. That is like the number one thing that people struggle with, is figuring out when to delegate and how to do it properly without stepping on people's toes. So
It's hard.
I want everybody to go check out this book. It's called Who Not How. It's basically the multifamily Bible of how to do it, right? Because that's the same concept. If who not how, basically, it's not
How to do it.
most people think, how can I do this? Or how can I best do it? How can I achieve this? It's actually, who can do this for me? Who can help me achieve this? Who can show me what to do? Who can do this for me better?
Right.
Making that one word shift will be a game changer for you, and not just understanding it, but again, what I was talking about earlier, like believing in it and having that mindset shift.
Yeah. It's hard. I've done
Hard.
it because I've gone from having one location to having multiple locations, and obviously I can't run every single one of them. So you have to delegate. You have to kind of you find those people that you can trust in, but it's still hard. It's still hard to let go. I'm sure you guys understand that too.
Yeah, I definitely, I know we were talking, when we were talking with Pace, he was saying how he was struggling with that too. You know,
Mhm.
that people not doing things the right way. And he's like, I just have to let them do it.
Mhm.
He's like, otherwise, like, I don't get to spend time with my family and do the things I need to do. Like, I'm always going to be in the business if I do not remove myself and just let them do what they need to do. And so I was like, yeah, well, at least we're not the only ones. Even Pace struggles with that.
Yep, yep. Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for asking a question. I think we have time for one more because my mom and brother just got here. But
I saw one in the chat that I'll answer real quick, and I think Ken answered it as well. So sounds like Ken's a baller, guys. He understands this stuff. So go connect with Ken. He's got his number right there. Reach out to him. So the question was, and I'll just repeat it, is raising capital always necessary, or is funding able to be done? So Ken, his answer was yes. If you get a commercial loan, that will cover 65 to 75% of the purchase. So you need to bring capital partners to cover the remaining balance plus any capital for renovations. And he's absolutely correct. That's the most common structure for how these deals are done. But again, we do creative finance, so it's not the only answer to it. That's the most common way that it is done. But there's also people that have the cash and just buy it outright. There's also people that you can go and purchase a property with zero money down. Like the three properties we own, we didn't put a single penny into it ourselves. So we didn't have it available, right? All of our money went to paying bills because we were broke and we were trying to just figure this stuff out. So there's people out there that will give you private loans. They're called private money lenders, and you can go and get the private money lending for the second structure. For example, let me paint the picture this way. Here's an example of a deal that we're structuring right now. The seller wanted like $8 million or something like that. And we were structuring seller finance with them, and we just couldn't come to an agreement. We've gone back and forth. I think 14 offers have gone back to this person, back and forth. So 7 from us, 7 from them. And the way that we're going to structure this now is called a Morby method. And so what we're going to do is we're going to go and get a commercial loan to cover the bulk of it. We'll call it that 70%. The remaining 30%, the seller will actually finance it to us. So we'll get that at 0% interest. He will finance it. So we don't actually have to bring it. And then we'll go and get a private money lender, specifically a transactional funding lender, and they will wire the amount that we need to close into our bank account. The lender will see it, check it off, give us the money to close, and then we'll close, wire back the transactional funding to the transactional funding lender plus his fee. And then we bought the deal with no money out of pocket. The seller is actually financing us that amount. All we paid is that fee and the closing costs associated with the closing and any additional capex, which we can go and get that from another private money lender, or we can go and raise that from somebody else. But yes, there's always money that's involved in these deals. It just comes from something that it comes from the who, right? Not how can I pay this, it's who can pay this for me. And that was, if you guys didn't understand it, that was definitely a more advanced structuring of a deal. So it's okay if you didn't understand it. Reach out to us and we're happy to kind of elaborate further on that. But that's definitely a more complicated deal structure. Good question though. I don't see any more questions. So it sounds like we should adjourn here for the evening, because I know some of you guys are probably on the East Coast. I know Michelle, she's still in here.
Yeah.
Michelle is on the East Coast. She's out there in New York. It's up past her bedtime. Definitely up past my bedtime.
Well, we're super thankful that all of you guys came and supported us, and hopefully you got some type of value from what we shared today. Would love some feedback from any of you guys, and we'll keep doing some more and see how it goes. And I see some messages. Hold on. Let me make sure before I close it out.
Right here.
You guys can reach us on Instagram at KJ Mudd. We make it simple. It's our names, KJ Mudd, Joseph Mudd. But really, the real content comes from me.
Yeah, if you guys like what we're doing, I'm just the face. I'm just in there.
All right.
I have nothing to do with it.
Awesome.